Nigerians, the plot to kill Peter Obi before 2027 election is coming from Aso Villa. Don't take my word for it. I want you to listen critically to these in-depth analysis and statements of fact from Rufai Hussaini. I will come back.
Now, this story dominated social media all weekend. Peter Obi's explosive interview, in which he alleged government persecution over airport parking rules, sparked a fierce response from the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, who in a lengthy post on X fired back, ordering Peter Obi to publicly apologize to airport staff and pay a 25,000 naira fine for what he described as wrongful parking at Abuja Airport or face fan action. Within 1 week, Keyamo attached CCTV footage to the post, stating that on July 4th, Peter Obi's police driver parked his vehicle unattended in a prohibited drop-off zone for approximately 30 minutes. Keyamo said the CCTV footage confirms that nobody was in the vehicle when it was clamped, meaning security staff had no idea whose car it was. He added that Peter Obi then called the airport manager personally, introduced himself, and used his influence to get the vehicle released without paying the fine. Keyamo described Peter Obi's subsequent claims of persecution as a false narrative designed to score cheap political points. Ayo. Well, this generated fierce debate online, with many asking whether a sitting minister should personally intervene in a routine parking fine or leave it to airport authorities. And I'll read some reactions online. This is from Solution, not Soludo. Solution, who wrote...
Soludo is Mr. Solution.
Yes, so he's Soludo Solution, you're correct. Yes. Well, this is not Soludo. He wrote, this video doesn't even prove anything. If for anything, the video proves Peter Obi right. First, according to the narrator, if you leave the car behind, it will be locked. However, the driver was hovering around the car, but immediately he went the other way. Those guys came and locked the car. That's a clear sign of targeted monitoring and waiting for the driver to step out so the car can be locked. Second, there are other cars parked in front of the car, but the video doesn't show that those other cars were locked too. Also, what's the difference between parking the car and remaining inside the car and parking the car and leaving the car behind for a moment? All these don't prove anything but further support Peter Obi's claim of targeted bullying. For me, that's what I saw with the CCTV footage. I did see that, the driver was going in and out, but there were other cars that were parked in that same lane. What happened? So that question should also be raised. But also the question about why is a minister responding to a parking fine? Well, Julius Adebayo wrote, Peter Obi's case ceased to be an ordinary parking enforcement matter the moment he publicly alleged that the federal government was trying to frustrate and intimidate him. Once such a serious allegation was made against government institutions, the ministry was duty-bound to establish the facts. Releasing CCTV footage and explaining the sequence of events was aimed at addressing those allegations with evidence. The real question isn't why Keyamo responded. The question is, should the government have remained silent after being accused of political persecution? Public allegations deserve public clarification, backed by facts, but you wouldn't know that since you're, I guess they're responding to Peter Obi's support. And then finally, Ada Ogbu wrote on X, as a member of the team that accompanied His Excellency Peter Obi to the Abuja airport on Saturday, July 4th, I can state categorically that he does not have a police officer as his driver in Abuja. Therefore, if airport CCTV captured a police officer entering the driver's seat of a vehicle, that vehicle could not have been Mr. Peter Obi's. It is also important to note that Mr. Obi travels through as many as 10 Nigerian airports every week. Over time, there have been several acts of hostility directed at him and members of his team by airport personnel across different locations. Well, based on the account shared by the Honorable Minister, it is clear that the incident Mr. Obi referenced during his interview with Chude did not occur on the date or at the airport cited by the minister. There are plainly two different incidents.
Now, and I take note of that because last week, Mr. Peter Obi said he's receiving the kind of treatment, the kind of vibes, either with his business or with his other activities, that will give the impression that he may not be alive before the 2027 general election.
Yes.
And that's a very serious allegation that the state should take seriously. Because in this country, we have had cases of political persecution in different shapes. We have even had cases of unresolved assassination. It was in this country that Chief Bola Ige was killed. It was in this country that Chief Dikibo was killed. It was in this country that Funshaw Williams was killed. It was in this country that Suliat Adedeji was killed. So if you are a politically exposed person and you then say that you have fears and anxieties about the way, the kind of reactions you are getting from the state, I think the state has an obligation to take it seriously.
Yes.
The state has an obligation to ensure the protection of Mr. Peter Obi, whatever the details may be, as well as other persons of political interest. Nobody should have any anxiety that he may die before the election.
Right.
And that protection is very important.
Right.
Because in other jurisdictions, when you are politically exposed, you are entitled to a certain level of protection.
Yes.
The fact that you want to be president, or you want to be governor, or you want to be even local government chairman, does not mean you should lose your life in the process.
And last week we did see a response from Bayo Ononuga, which we actually reacted to, and that was quite,
So I don't know, and I'd like to put an open question. Has the Department of State Security officially given Peter Obi security aid as we speak? Because as a presidential candidate, state security is mandatory. Is entitled. So have they officially given him? Because if they're officially giving him, is the security aid by the state that should be handling all of this? But secondly, Oji, you will be a blind man to say there's no political persecution against Peter Obi. Festus Keyamo is my friend and brother, but their reaction just confirmed it. Pure and simple. We're in this country where they were begging for Kwamwan. They went to stay in front of plane.
That was something.
If Obi stayed in front of plane like that, the country would have scattered. We're in this country now where they were begging for Kwamwan, where they were saying that, please leave him, we know what he has done. So then the next thing, a video comes out. It was unnecessary. Like I said, it is not everything the government reacts. If Obi had even said that, they could have just kept quiet, and it's not everything. It was unnecessary. Secondly, Oji, we're in this country when my very good friend and brother, Governor Monday Okpebolo, said Peter Obi should not enter Edo States without getting security clearance from him. Oji, you know what happened that day? There were gunshots.
Yes, we took the story live.
And we're gunshots. So if you say that's not political persecution enough, we're here where people were saying that we want to debate you. Everything is this Obi. If this government feels that Obi is not peppering them in any way, that is a no contest and everything, if the man talk, don't respond. But as long as you keep responding, it means that is a very fundamental factor in all of this. The man has come out to say again that most of his friends don't even talk to him. He's been ostracized in parties and everything. You will be blind to see that these are not political persons. And quickly they remove CCTV. Oshomole, so they didn't remove CCTV. Oshomole was going and defending it.
Yes, thank you all for your submission, and this is a sort of conversation we need to have in the lead up to the 2027 elections. We don't want to hear that the opposition is unfairly targeted, and I believe that his, comments or his allegations should be investigated. There was another ex-user that I read saying that Peter Obi does not travel with police in Abuja. They should investigate that. Yeah. Was that the actual CCTV footage? And if it wasn't, what are the legal implications?
Good. My own is not to speak big grammar, okay? My own is to present issues the way they are. And the undiluted truth is that if anything happens to Peter Obi before 2027, now that time Nigeria go know say, Kake no be leather. that time APC government in power go no say kake no be leather. Just make it be say something scratch Peter Obi mistakenly. Let it just end in political prosecution or persecution, as the case might be. But if anything happens to Peter Obi, they will not say kake no be leather. I just want to say this because since this whole thing has been coming up and everybody's talking about, even Peter Obi, making that assertion that his life is under critical threat. Up till now, the Nigerian security advisor, the NSA, the National Security Advisor, and the DSS, and the Nigerian Inspector General of Police, they have not deemed it fit to give Peter Obi proper security protocol. That is what is due for him as a presidential candidate. It is not a privilege. As a presidential candidate going for an election of this magnitude, where Peter Obi is the prime target of the government in power today, we know that. We don't even expect them to do otherwise. We are not even begging anybody to do otherwise. We have handed over the life of Peter Obi to their hands. Let anything happen to him. Then they go no say, kake no be leather. I just want to keep it this way. My name is Asuchenet Peters. I'm the voice of the people and the voice of the advocacy for good governance. What is your take on it? On the comment section. Let the discussion continue. I'm signing out. My name is Asuchenet Peters. Bye-bye for now.